Hi, this is John Flynn. This is Copley Advertising, and today we're going to talk about mind growth versus mind learning. Mind growth. This is a new thing right now coming out. It's very important because I think what it does is that it totally changes the game of the way people think and the way people grow. And this is how, okay? I came into the entrepreneur life at the age of 52 after being fired from my job at an ad agency. It was a quick firing too. Get the hell out. No parties. No, nothing. So anyway, I went into the ad agency as a mobile marketing ad agency. We only do mobile marketing, and I knew nothing about mobile advertising. I knew what other people were doing, but for myself to open my own shop to provide the service, zippo. And I actually just sold clients. I told them what I could do, and I did that, and they were fine. Paid me. I never lied. Don't lie. Lying's bad for business. Okay, we talked about this, but so I've always been under the indirectly. My life has always been under the pretense that you can learn anything at any time. Right? I'm not saying like, okay, go learn French or something. I suck at languages, so I'm not going to do that. But when you're in a situation, your mind, you could still have mind growth. There's mind learning. You go to school, which is, for most of us in entrepreneur land, was a horrible experience. You go to school, right? You reach a learning set, and then you're finished, right? And then you learn something else. But mind growth is a more expansive way to understand the learning process. So what it is that you can actually go in and keep, expansively growing, things in your learning field, by organically going in there and taking the information and learning it. So I mean, people say like, oh, I always wanted to be a lawyer, but I'm 35 and I'm too old. No. It might be fear, right? It might be fear, but you can do it, right? Because yes, you won't have the linear track as like younger people might have, in the sense of like they're fresh on their experience from college and moving in, and then they internship at a law firm and moving in. But if you look at it as a mind growth experience, right, is that you go in and then you kind of take the information, you put it together as growing the knowledge within your mind, then that's a whole different way of approaching it, right, and a whole different goal. Because what it does is that it doesn't take a linear path, right? I mean, the great thing is that when I go stumble on something, and I'm no guru at this or anything. I'm not trying to sell you something here. I'm just telling you what works for me. Okay, so when I see a new task and I start tackling it, it expands, and there's like a lot of different offshoots, and you can look at this and look at that instead of looking the linear pathway we all were taught. It's like 2 + 2 is 4, 4 + 4 is 8, 8 + 8 is 16. But now if you're allowed to kind of like take that information and bring it to the next level and expand it and see the all the nuances in it as a big sphere of knowledge, then it's much easier, right? And for me at least, it's much easier and much more comprehensive information I could gather in a quicker level, and more deeper I can go. So I was able to learn in 2.5 years, a lot of information about the mobile marketing field that, a lot of people didn't, because they were either, boxed into this little role, put it up here, boxed in this little role and taught not to move from that, right? They only knew blue colors and the guy knew red colors over here. Or there's always this, myth of like, the 1% entrepreneurs, like, tardy around saying only I can do this and you can't, and they go to seminars and conferences and say how wonderful they are, and then the other people in the audience clap and say how wonderful they are, and everybody's just wonderful. It's a big wonderful hug, and only these selected people, these people have been anointed, can learn anything about anything. It's horrible elitism, and it's stupid. You go to a conference as a keynote speaker, right? You got to check your hustle qualifications, because I think you're losing them, right? Anyway, don't be afraid. I'm just trying to, the whole thing of this is don't be afraid, okay? Don't be afraid that it's like you can't put 2 plus 2 together, so you're not going to put 8 plus 8 together and 16 plus 16 together. Okay? It doesn't have to be linear like that. It's that you take information, you start learning it, you build it, you make it comprehensive, you keep growing, you add stuff, and then you're going to have this big sphere of knowledge, and it's a growth knowledge, so it's a lot easier, more organic. Get it? John Flynn! Copley Advertising gave me 1 month. 1 month of my mobile marketing campaign. And I will fix it.